Good morning, everybody. Quick video here, another Royals video. The Royals, again, lost 2 games yesterday, and they keep up their streak of, amazingly, of not winning the game when the other team scores a run. They're now 3-12, and so I went back and looked at these games. And I'm not going by the blown save stat, because the blown save stat is inherently flawed. Because you can have more blown saves. You can only, well, let's put it this way, you can only have one save in a game, potentially. I mean, you can only one guy can save the game, and there's very certain qualifications for that. But you can have multiple people blow a save in the same game, which makes no sense whatsoever, even not in the last inning. I understand the reasoning for it. I understand the rules and justifications, but the blown save stat, in my opinion, is extremely misleading, and it doesn't tell the whole story. So, but anyway, it's still not a good. You don't want to have blown saves. That means you're giving up runs. So the Royals bullpen. So the Royals are 3-12. They've lost 12 games. They are 0-12 when the other team scores at least one run, which that's really pathetic. And the Royals bullpen, this is historically bad, like comically bad. Kevin Keatsman, who is he's a sports journalist, radio talk show host here in Kansas City. He said yesterday, he tweeted out that, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he said, this is not a team. He said, this is a horrible team. And he said, and he basically uses the word team loosely. He says, this is just a bunch of guys on a roster trying to stay in the major leagues. And, excuse me, that is very accurate. The Royals' 12 losses, the bullpen has blown the game 8 times. That is comically bad. Kelvin Herrera has 2 saves, and he has not allowed a run. He's the only pitcher in the bullpen that's yet to allow a run. There's been some bright spots here and there. Brad Keller and Tim Hill have both been pretty good. But Blaine Boyer, Brandon Maurer, Justin Grimm, they have all been bad. I mean, and Royals fans will remember this name. They've been Ricky Bottalico bad. And you know, when I make a Ricky Bottalico reference, you know it's bad. So the question is what does Dayton Moore and what do Ned Yost do? Look, this season is over. They're 3-12. The season is done. And they need to recognize that. Mike Moustakas has an OPS over 1,000. He had another home run. He had 2 hits in the first game of the doubleheader, hit a home run, had 3 more hits in the nightcap. Mike Moustakas deserves better than this. The Royals need to trade Mike Moustakas right now, and be done with it. He deserves better than this, than to play for this sad sack team. I'm not sure what Dayton Moore has done. I mean, maybe someday we'll make a video about Dayton Moore and his transactions. You know, you give credit where credit is due, but that goes for good and bad. Dayton Moore gets all the credit in the world for the transactions he made between the 2014 and 2015 season. With the additions of Ryan Madsen, Joe Blanton, who obviously wasn't on the team at the end of the season because they traded him, or they released him. One of the things, I can't remember what they did, but Blanton obviously was an integral part in the early season for the Royals, out of the bullpen and reclamation project. The trades for Cueto and Zobrist, pieces that paid dividends in the playoffs, and the Royals don't win the World Series without those 2 players. And there were other additions to the signing of Kendrys Morales. Everything worked. Everything Dayton Moore did that offseason worked, and it culminated in a world championship. His track record since then has been less than stellar. I mean, does anybody here, any Royals fan in Kansas City, can they honestly say that they would not rather have Matt Strahm on the team, even with his mental issue that he had last year? He couldn't throw strikes, but he's got so much upside. Would you still trade him to the Padres for what was it, Flynn, Buckner, and Mauer? Those two of those pitchers aren't even on the team anymore, and Mauer obviously is in AAA and can't throw strikes. Dayton Moore, they need to blow this up. This obviously does not work. The players they signed they're not a team. As Kevin Keatsman said, they're just a bunch of guys on a roster trying to stay in the show. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a baseball team. That's not how you build a winner. Look, the Royals are going to, like I said in the previous video, what does it matter if the Royals win 65 games or 70 games? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And their track record of drafting in the first round is poor enough. You know, they've had some hits. Moustakas, Hosmer, both obviously paid huge dividends. Christian Colon was a miss. They could have had Chris Sale instead. I know. Christian Colon, World Series hero, drove in the winning run, in Game 5 against the Mets. But come on. Look, Christian Colon was a failed draft pick. I mean, Dane Orridge is not hailed upon in the Royals Hall of Fame as anything. He had a great hit in Game 6 of the 85 series. I mean, no, Christian Colon was a failure. Bubba Starling, I mean, I guess he's still trying to make it, but Bubba Starling is a failure. Other players drafted in the last 3 to 4 years, we've seen other players make it to the big leagues for other teams, and our guys are languishing in single A and double A. I think it might be time to consider the headman and what he's doing. I give credit. He gets all the credit for building the World Series winner, and that's going to buy him a lot of time from the David Glass family. And it probably should. We don't want to be too reactionary here. So the first immediate question, when you're looking at what to do going forward, Ned Yost is not going to be fired. Ned Yost deserves the right to go leave on his own terms. I think Ned Yost I think he probably should retire, and step away and leave gracefully, and let Dale Swaim maybe take over for the rest of this year. I don't see Ned Yost sticking around for the whole season, to be honest with you. I think this is just going to get progressively worse, and all Royals fans know that prickly Ned and disgruntled Ned, that's a Ned Yost that does not endear himself to the fans. Ned is a great manager when he's winning, and he's doesn't have to do a whole lot. Right now, he's having to captain a ship that is taking on a lot of water, and the guys on the ship don't like each other. That's essentially what Ned Yost is having to do right now. The team has no identity. So what I would do, honestly, all these live arms they have in the minors, I would completely cut bait on all the garbage. Justin Grimm, Blaine Boyer, Brandon Maurer, even though he's in AAA, the bullpen is so bad I can't even remember half the guys' names. I would keep Hill and Keller around, and Herrera. Everybody else is gone. They don't deserve spots on the roster. I think the starting rotation should stay just like it is, with the exception of Eric Skoglund. who Eric Skoglund became a cult hero in Kansas City after his major league debut against the Tigers last year, when he threw 6 shutout innings. Since then, he's got an ERA close to 19 or something like that. That's excuse me. That's pathetic. He's a nice kid. He's got nice parents. They support him. They come to his games. And if they're watching this someday, maybe they're mad at me for talking bad about their kid. But look, this is Major League Baseball. This is not Little League. This is not college ball. This is Major League Baseball. If you don't perform, you're out. That's the bottom line. You're paid to play this game. And Eric Skoglund has shown zero ability to stick around at the Major League level. He needs to go. I'm not saying cut him. I'm saying send him back down to the minors. Get these other guys up in the minors who have live arms, like Stalmont, and a bunch of other guys that I don't know, because you know what? It's not my job to follow the minor leagues like it is Dayton Moore. And I guess the thing that worries me is that if the players on the team now, if that really is the best we can do, and they really are better than the guys in the minors, then this team is in serious trouble. Or the organization's in serious trouble. And they're going to have to start trading away the players that are actually having decent seasons through the first 15 games just to get some talent back so we can pretend like we're going to, compete in 3 years. I mean, this direction has 2004 to 2006 Royals written all over it. The final 3 years of the Allard Baird regime, which was so poor. And I can remember Dayton Moore coming in 2000. Well, I guess it was 2006, but it was he wasn't involved in that draft. He made it very clear because that was the draft that they took Luke Hochevar. Another failed draft pick. Yeah, he became a pretty decent relief pitcher, but you don't spend the number 1 overall pick on a player to have him be a good 7th inning man. Sorry. Just don't. Sorry, Luke. Glad for your contributions to the 2015 World Series title team. But, we expected more. So, yeah, I'm disgruntled. I guess the reason why I'm disgruntled is because any fan who pays attention to the game, no, we don't know exactly what Dayton Moore knows. We don't know the inner workings of the organization like he knows. And that's fine. That's not our job to know that. It's Dayton Moore's job to know that. But when guys on bar stools and sitting in their cars driving to work and can make observations, that's... You have to wonder where the direction of the team is going. Now, you can't be super reactionary and quote unquote fire everybody every time you go through a bad stretch. You can't do that, obviously. But the Royals are... I thought that this possibly could be a 75-win team. Everything broke right. They may be able to win to get to 500 because they had some pieces on the team that I thought were pretty decent. And it's painfully obvious they're either the most unlucky bullpen in baseball or they're just the worst bullpen in baseball history. Worse than the 1999 bullpen, which was so fantastically awful. I can remember... I'll never forget that season, the 99 season, because it was the year that those Carlos Beltran and Carlos Fablis, and if all the Royals fans remember, Carlos Fablis was actually he was the one who was the more highly touted prospect of the two Carloses, but obviously Beltran went on to be a superstar, and now the discussion in the next several years will be, is Beltran a Hall of Famer? I mean, like a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. That'll be interesting. That'll be another discussion for another day. But that 1999 Royals team had so much offense. Jermaine Dye, Mike Sweeney. That was the year before Mark Quinn came up, but who else was on that team? Oh, Joe Randa, best third baseman in baseball. No, not really. Johnny Damon. So the Royals had some really nice pieces of offense on that team, but the bullpen was statistically the worst bullpen in Major League history. And the Royals bullpen right now is on pace to be worse than that. And that's, as Dave Letterman would say, that's something. That's definitely something. So, again, my quick fix is not really a fix. It's just more of a reaction. Grimm and Boyer need to go. They need to be released. They're not sending them to the minors. And Skoglund needs to be sent down. And they need to try somebody else. What they're doing right now is not working. They need to try something else to see if that will work. On the offensive side, they're hitting some home runs now. Finally, no one. The weird thing is that the Royals are getting a lot of hits, but they're not hitting home runs with men on base. In the game yesterday, the nightcap, they lost 5-4. They hit 3 home runs. They were all solo home runs. Any of those home runs have a man on base, the Royals win the game because the game went to extra innings. And they would have won the game. Herrera would have closed it out in the 9th, and they would have won the game at the minimum 5-4 or more than that. But even their home runs yesterday, they're not sustainable because you got Abraham Almonte and Alcides Escobar muscling up and going deep yesterday, which, they are major league hitters, and any major league hitter eventually is going to run into one and hit one over the wall. So I'm disappointed. 8 games the bullpen has blown. That's bad. And Dayton Moore needs to address it immediately. So, again, Blaine Boyer, gone. Justin Grimm, gone. Find someone else that can come up and do a better job. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Still following the team. Go Royals.